Hello, everyone. I am Mark,
I'm Rob.
and welcome to Mark and Rob's Sports Showdown live show every Monday night, Eastern, 7 to 8, except for major holidays. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, please, and hit the notification bell when you do. We need more subscribers. We're only been around for 2 months. We're growing fast, though. And don't forget to make some intelligent, non-insulting comments down below and let us know if you disagree. That's fine. Anyways, Rob, what would you like to talk about today?
Well, let's talk about being about the
Oh,
enforcer for Caitlin Clark.
you think she needs one?
Well, somebody stepped up to the plate and wants to try to help her. Is a actually she was a great ball player. She's out of the league for this year, but Angel McCautry, she used to play for the Atlanta Dream, and she's chimed in and says, "Hey, I'll go in here. I'll come and protect her."
She was a great player too. She led the league in scoring. She was a all defensive team rookie of the year, and
7 times.
she's been out of the league. She hasn't played regularly since like 2022.
Right.
And then she's really only had like one season in the last 4 years. But she's 37 years old. So I don't know if she's going to make it back in the league, even though she was a great player.
But do you think Caitlin needs some protection now, like they did back in the day?
You know, I I usually have strong opinions, as you can probably tell. I'm really in between on this one because I really don't like the enforcer concept. I really don't. I know I understand why it's necessary in hockey. I hope it's not necessary outside of hockey because I don't even like all the fighting in hockey. So I don't want it to be necessary in hockey. So I don't know. I don't know, Rob. I people say her the teammates don't have her back, but I'm not sure that's her job. I think it's the refs and the commissioner's job, and they're failing in this. But so I don't know if she needed an enforcer, but it wouldn't hurt.
I mean, I when I played, believe it or not, Mark, when I played in high school, I was kind of like the enforcer. If someone did a hard hit on one of our players, I would look the number and say, okay. So then next time down, if they came towards my area and was going for a shot, I would give them a nice little hard foul there.
All right. Well, as long
So
as
I
it's
mean,
not cheap. As long as it's not cheap.
no, it wasn't blatant, but I would give them a hard foul. And it's yeah, I hear you. I understand why you. I like your concept. You're not a violent person, but I mean, you don't like to see that kind of stuff because it takes away from the game.
I'm afraid it's going to escalate if you start getting the enforcer concept. I don't think people think this out, so I'm going to go more against the enforcers. I think more about it. That's what's going to happen. She comes out. Let's say Angel gets on the roster, and she comes out and decks the other person or gives a really hard foul or whatever, and then she does it back, and then there's a fight, and then the women get even a worse reputation than they do now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a concept. I think I kind of agree with you. I'm like, so I mean, so she's going to come in and enforce, and then all the Clarkettes will be like, yeah, right, we got somebody to protect her, but it should be the refs and it should be the commissioner to protect the players. That's
If they
their job.
call it right and they penalize them enough by the commissioner and the league and the refs, they won't do it. They won't need to be an enforcer.
Right.
You know,
But yeah.
when Draymond Green, he was kicking people in the nuts and hitting them. He did it like 3 or 4 times. He finally got suspended for a game. Guess what? He stopped doing it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
When David Stern put in, like, if you leave the bench during a brawl or you punch somebody, automatic suspension. Guess what? They stopped doing it. They stopped having brawls. All right.
Right.
So you
Right.
just there has to be, like Tony Kornheiser said, living, breathing commissioner.
Right.
That's what they need, and they need better refs and need more forceful refs.
But
And I think that'll handle it. I don't think it's her teammates' job to do that. Then they'll get thrown out of the game, or they'll get in a fight, or something.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, that was old time school. I mean, speaking of with the Celtics in the finals here, they had one guy, I think they called him Jumbo Jim. His whole sole role was just to go out there and hammer the other player, which, like I said, I mean, some people were into that kind of stuff, but that, like I said, takes away from the game. But then if you just enforce the rules, I mean, unfortunately, like I said, I've played, and sometimes, like I said, I was kind of the enforcer. If someone did something to my other player, I definitely have their back. That's a definite. You're not going to let them. If I was, I mean, what people were saying is that, so you knock Caitlin Clark down, and Boston should have been right after Kennedy in her face. I mean,
it would have been a fight. It would have been a fight because Kennedy is a fighter.
Yeah,
and then Joyce gets kicked out of the game, and they're going to lose that game.
Yeah. So then Boston gets kicked out of the game for defending her, and there's one of your best players. And
They already
sometimes
have a forward missing because she's injured right now, and they
right.
couldn't afford for her to get kicked out of the game.
And sometimes like I said, teams would do that. You notice that in hockey or just another sports where they would actually do that on purpose to take out the best player. So I mean, it's a strategy. That was a strategy, which is a stupid strategy, which is very lame strategy.
I think that she needs an enforcer, but I don't want one because I don't want fights. I don't like to see women fight anymore. I like to see men fight. And it's worse because then they start pulling hairs and who knows what extensions will start coming out. Angel Reese did that in the college game against South Carolina. Maybe it was regular. I guess it was regular. She pulled her hair. Pulled hair on her teammate, Cardoza. She pulled her hair.
Well, Angel Reese, she also
surprised me from Reese though, but
yeah, but she also did during the playoffs or during the college playoffs, she waved when the Middle Tennessee player fouled out. She waved her like goodbye, see you later.
Right.
But I love it because the Iowa fans got her back, and when she get fouled out, they said goodbye to her. So
right, Rob. And then other people are saying not only the enforcer, they just don't have her back in general. They think her teammates are jealous of her. I don't know. I don't know that again is what's going on with her teammates. I think the whole league's jealous of her. Whether her teammates are to the same extent, which they shouldn't be, because she's there to help them win. I have no idea, but I'm not sure it's their job.
Seems like Mitchell is. He doesn't pass her the ball.
Well, that's a different story. That has nothing to do with not having her back. That has to do with Mitchell
just wants
to get her 18 points every game or whatever.
Yeah, it seems like Mitchell. She doesn't.
So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I know her Iowa teammates loved her, and I just don't know. This is a different situation. She came into a new team. It's not like she grew up with the Iowa teammates and stuff. So I don't know what's going on. But I think Aaliyah Boston likes her. I just don't think she's a fighter, and I think that's why.
That's what I mean. Yeah, she's not. That's why she didn't enforce.
Timmy likes her because she passes it to her. Lisa Smith likes her because she passed it to her, and Wheeler accepted her with open arms. In fact, did you see? There's this draft excerpt that when it was happening, Wheeler was in the middle, and two women were sitting next to her. I don't know who the other two were. They were all black. Just by description, not has anything to do with anything. That's who the players were. Right. And they were waiting for the announcement that Caitlin Clark was the number 1 draft pick going to the NBA.
I did see that. Yeah, I saw that video.
They jumped out of their chairs.
Yeah.
Okay?
Even though they knew
now they're suddenly really jealous of him. I don't know. They know she's can take and help her win once things become a little easier for him with the schedule and stuff like that. And we'll see what happens. So I don't know. I think Wheeler was very good when the announcement came. She said she's like a big sister. She's going to welcome with open arms. She's going to teach her what she can as a veteran, and she's done that. So I got to give her credit. I'm not going to give Mitchell too much credit for not passing the ball to anybody. She doesn't pass it to anybody, not just Clark.
So the enforcer thing is, I think it's more of a passe thing from the old school. I mean, like the Trailblazers have Maurice Lucas. All these other teams had enforcers back in the day, but I think you're right. I mean, the focus should be on the commissioner getting her act together about this. This is a professional league, so make like you're a professional. You're going to be gone.
Yeah, let us know in your comments about this topic, because I'm still not 100% clear on how I feel about all this, about her teammates having her back or not. And enforcer, I don't like the enforcer thing in general, but let us know in the comments what you think about those two topics. Rob, because of Caitlin Clark and because of everything surrounding it, they're getting a lot of publicity. Do you think it's good or bad for the league, or both?
What, the publicity?
The publicity surrounding Caitlin Clark.
Of course, it's good. It's great. I mean, they need this. They need this insert of, because no one's going to watch. No one has been watching the WNBA. No, I mean, if I went down the street, if you went down the street and asked somebody to name one player on a WNBA team, they probably wouldn't even know. So, I mean, she's bringing, and now you would say, so they'll probably say Caitlin Clark. If you walk down the street, they've heard of her. I kind of heard this player, Caitlin Clark. You know, I don't watch it, but I've heard something about her. So, yeah, it's definitely,
It's good in that way. It's getting more publicity. They were going to get a lot of publicity no matter what. But the drama around Caitlin Clark, I think, is turning off a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's not what they need right now, because a lot of people are watching the WNBA for the first time on a regular basis. Maybe just Caitlin Clark's games, like myself and a lot of other Clark fans. But it's still, every time you watch a game, Caitlin Clark plays, you're seeing another player. And if you watch all their games, you're going to see all 11 other teams, which means you're going to see all 11, 143 players in the league besides her. And that's good. And you'll get an appreciation for how good Breanna Stewart is and how good AJ Wilson is. And you'll be able to form an opinion on which of those two is the best two in the league.
Right.
Because there seems to be some dispute about that. And that's the other thing, Rob, is that because of all this race and other things and violence and whatever, all this bias and stuff that's going on with and without Clark and all the over double teaming, triple teaming, and all this things that had nothing to do with the game. Nobody's paying attention to the game. Nobody even knows that Connecticut's undefeated, or that someone's leading the league in scoring or someone's leading the league in rebounding or whatever, because everybody's talking about this. So these poor women are not getting the attention they want, part their fault, because of all this drama around Clark.
Right. And that's bringing up that jealousy thing again, and again, then like I said, with the bringing that was so-called haters for that reason, like, why don't they talk about, it's not, like I said, it's not her fault. This is what's being covered. So if you want to get, want the WNBA to succeed even more, how about talking about how good the Connecticut Sun are, undefeated, one of the best offensive teams, is one of the best offensive players. So let's, start bringing that up. And then the Aces, they got AJ Wilson. They're a top 10. They're a top team. They won the championship. Are they going to win it again? I mean, yeah, start focusing on that. But no, it's Caitlin Clark is this, Caitlin and the foul. It is. You're exactly, the word is perfect. Drama. Too much drama.
And it involves race. And that's drama and obviously the fouling and stuff like that. But people keep putting that situation with Tiger Woods as an example in golf, and I'm telling you, it's a hard comparison for one, because if we're complaining about the hard fouls and things like that, you can't compare it in golf. That these guys aren't going up against each other on the bench. But I don't follow golf that closely, and the few times I followed it was to watch Jack Nicklaus or Tiger Woods. Because they were by far the two best golfers of all time. So he brought a lot of eyes to the league, and obviously he's not black in the traditional sense. He's actually only 25% black, but he looks black. So in that sense, he is to society anyways. And so I don't know exactly what took place, but I did read a nice summary of it in a comment. They said when Tiger Woods first came into the league, some of the people were vocal and upset about all the attention he was getting. And not just because he was black, but because he was getting a lot of attention, and they thought it was out of proportion. But then after they started making money, and because of the publicity and all the ratings went up, so they got more money from the networks, and all the cash prizes went up, they stopped complaining about Tiger Woods getting so much attention.
Right.
So I'm wondering, will that happen 5 years from now? Because let's assume that was true. That's what took place, because there was a Fuzzy Solar, comment about fried chicken and all that stuff. So it's not like nothing was bad said to him, but it wasn't the same degree, I think, with Caitlin Clark. But let's pretend that's what happens. That happened in golf, that they complained at first and didn't complain. Maybe that'll happen in the WNBA. Yeah. They'll stop complaining.
Well, hopefully it will. Yeah, hopefully that will. Because like I said, I mean, he brought in. I never used to watch golf. Like I said, I was like you. I'd watch maybe Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer. But as far as when Tiger was in it, I watched it, and then like we were saying, the players first maybe would have been like, but then when people are watching, and then they could watch their game. They're like, "There's Tiger Woods. Hey, this player's pretty good. Oh, it's kind of cool. Maybe I can watch golf not just because of Tiger, and I can watch because this guy's pretty good." Same thing.
It was interesting that Jack Nicklaus say these guys are just so intimidated by Tiger Woods. He has an advantage to him, and that's why they can't beat him. And then he played with him, Tiger Woods, and he goes, "Wow, he's playing a different game than everybody else." Jack Nicklaus is the best analyst ever in golf, and he goes, "Oh my God, he's even better than I thought." After I sat down and he played 18 holes with him or whatever it was, and that's why people tuned in, because wow, he really was that great. And I'm not saying Caitlin Clark is that yet, but she has the potential to be that, and she's bringing eyes. That the most important thing is the comparison is that she's bringing eyes to the game.
Well, golf has been around for a long time, and they've had many great players. But the WNBA is a very new league, so yeah, I mean, she's bringing in more revenue, more people watching, and and then see the other players, see what it's all about. So, I mean, because it's a young league, and it's good to promote her. If she is the one to be the promoter and so-called the eye of the WNBA, why not? And just ride the wave with it. Ride the wave with it.
And let's assume for a minute. Let's assume for a minute that they're being over physical with Clark. Let's pretend this is hockey, and a black player comes in, and he is the best player in the league, and gets all this publicity like Caitlin Clark. You think he's going to be roughed up in the NHL?
I mean, he already was. I mean, the black players who came into the league already were like that. The first
there's been. I know there's some very good players, but there hasn't been any the best player in the league, or the best player who got all the publicity.
Right.
But
yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, just think what would happen. I mean, it would be
It would be worse because it's a more physical sport, and it's even a higher percentage white than it is black. So.
And then you would have to have the force for him, right?
Oh yeah, and I think the teammates would have their back, especially nowadays.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, hockey's a little different because it's physical and it's a little different.
So there was I saw this video, and his name is Matt Walsh. He's labeled as a conservative political commentator, and he had this take, and I don't know how I still feel about it because I just saw the video yesterday, but he made an interesting point. And let's just draw the conclusion that the league is predominantly female, black, and lesbian. All right, I don't know the percentage of lesbian. All right, so 33, in between 33 and 88%, and 98%, according to Candace Wiggins. But those are minorities in our society, at least in the United States. And women aren't a minority, but they consider them in terms of how society views things, like in terms of jobs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So his point was that these people, of all the people, want diversity in society. They want more diversity in society. And so in society, they are the minorities, so they're asking for more diversity for them. And then Caitlin Clark comes in the league, and in the league, she's a minority in all three aspects. Well, two, really, because they're all women. But in two aspects, she's the most diverse person coming in the league in a while, in the sense that also she's also the best in that. So she kind of went the best coming out of college, and she's at the top in terms of attention, and may someday be at the top as a player in the league.
Right.
His argument was that they want diversity, except when it comes to them, and when it comes to white players, diversity. They don't want to accept the white player into the league, and a white straight player into the league is diverse. What do you think about that theory, Rob?
Yeah, well, like I said, I've said that before. I mean, with the black players, they should know that to society we've been not looked at as being equal. So if you keep on going after her and saying she's this, you're not really helping that much. You should know how it feels like to be treated that way. So why are you doing this?
But that's why I think it's a good point. The only thing I can say that I have hesitation is that society's they're still the minorities in society. Yeah. This is just an isolated, small part of the world where they're the majority and the other players the white. But it's still a good analysis if you just look at it from a basketball standpoint and don't try to draw too much into it, I think. But you can let me know if you're you feel differently about that, because I'm still trying to process his theory behind it and whether or not it's, if it's 100% valid, 50% valid, and was a fair comparison or not. But it seems like in some ways it definitely is a comparison. So he's basically criticizing them for being hypocrites. And, that's not my theory, but there's certainly something to that.
Well, my stepmother, who happened to be white, she was a big time feminist. But then when I went to visit her in St. Lucia, she was like, "Oh, I'm all for feminism and like that." But who changed her tire? She had some guy change a tire, or there's a light bulb in her place, and she hired some guy to change the light bulb. I'm going, wait a minute. If you're a feminist, I suppose you know how to change a tire.
Right.
You don't need a man to do that or change a light bulb. So
So we'll get to basketball for once. The Fever have a game Friday night, and they're going to play the last place team, so I think they have a good chance to win. And here's the thing: they played, I think, 11 games in 20 days, and they had more away games than I think they had 6 away and 5. I'm not sure, but anyways, they play. They're going to play 29 games in 109 days, so like every 3.5 days they have a game instead of every other day. And I think they have no back-to-back lefts. So they're going to play better with the schedule. And so we'll see that the team's going to play better as well as Clark. I mean, it's got to happen. It's got to happen.
Well, I think they have the advantage.
The coach is going to get fired.
I think they're going to have a great game because right now the Chicago Sky play the Mystics tonight. And so the Mystics are playing back-to-back. So that probably will hurt them. And with a well-rested Caitlin Clark and Fever team, they might have their first blowout.
Right. And by the way, I don't have any problem with them 100% going after Clark. I'm still wondering if she's really overrated and all she does is jack threes and has no talent, which of course is silly. Why she gets the most attention in history. And I'm still figuring out all the coaches need to be fired for that because then they're doing the wrong defense. But I'm still wondering about that. But also, so Clark gets their best defender, and they give her the best shot at her in terms of defense. Right. All right. Go at it. Competitive, great. But their team, as a result, the team's getting the best effort too by them. It's almost like they're the Super Bowl champs because in fact they don't want Clark to win a game because that would make her look good.
Right.
They don't want the team to win. So now the team is suffering. The fact that I think they play a little bit harder against the overall team. Because heaven forbid if Caitlin Clark's team starts winning, because then it's going to make Caitlin Clark look good. So that's an interesting thing. I think that's what's happening here, and that's why one of the reasons I think they get a lot of hard things going on.
Yeah, they're going to use that you against them against us type thing. That kind of gets the team together when they have that concept. The team start gelling together and say, hey, they're not just against her, they're against us. Let's play our hardest game. Let's go all out.
Right. So hopefully that'll die down a little bit as they play him a second and third and fourth time. Hopefully all this. I mean, not necessarily against Clark, but like in terms of attitude against beating the team that's so bad.
Oh, okay.
And what I'm saying is I think they tried better against their person that they're covering too, because they want to try to make sure Caitlin Clark's team doesn't win. Is what I'm saying. Right. I think that's a logical extension of that. Right. But hopefully things will die down and we can just play basketball. And Caitlin Clark, like I said, hopefully she's not to the point where she's mentally hates basketball at this point, because she keeps saying, well, I'm playing the game I love, and she's not complaining. But deep down, she can't be happy about what's going on.
She's a human being. She's got emotions, so yeah.
She knows she's not playing her best. Like the last game, she shot like 1 for 10, and she knows she's not playing her best. But she got a 5-day rest. So let's see how she plays now. We'll see what happens. So, anyways, I enjoy watching her play, but apparently some haters don't.
Oh, they enjoy watching her because they want to see her lose. They want to see her.
Well,
they cheered when she got knocked down to the ground. Like you said, they were like Elise Reese. They were like Angel Reese.
Yeah, people come and watch the WNBA and don't like it, and because it's not as aesthetically pleasing as the men, because of the fact they don't go up in the air and dunk it and stuff like that. But that's what's going to happen, Rob. And I think that was the theory that people are saying is why it's more physical than the NBA. Do you think it's more physical than the NBA?
Yeah, because like I was telling you, coaching men's and boys basketball is different from the women and girls because it's more of a ground game. So you have to adjust the way you do plays and the way you do things. And they are kind of like they bang a lot more than the men. They have no more physical contact than the men do.
That's what the theory I heard was like they don't fly over the men, so they're gonna have to bang them down below because they're not going up in the air for the play, so they're down on the ground in the trenches, sort of thing. So maybe that's why women's basketball is more physical than men in some ways, at least the WNBA. I'm not sure college women's is, but
physical. College is physical too.
I'm not sure college women's basketball is more physical than men's college basketball. I'm not sure that's true. But the WNBA appears to be slightly more physical than the NBA.
Like I said, I've seen, I've coached. It could be pretty physical out there.
I think South Carolina and LSU are, but I think that stems from their coaches.
Yeah.
Even maybe in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, but there was an article about I think Caitlin Clark, part of her popularity is it is aesthetically pleasing to watch her make the logo threes and to make threes. So if you watch Steph Curry, and I think LeBron got a little jealous of Steph Curry because LeBron's a very exciting athlete because of his physical gifts, and like Michael Jordan was. And Steph Curry came in and didn't have the physical gifts that LeBron had. But yet people found him very exciting without even having that because of the way he shot the threes and the distance when he shot the threes. I think this description was from Dan Patrick. He said, it seems to get sucked right into the net when Caitlin Clark puts the three in. And the same thing with Steph Curry, obviously. It's not just Caitlin Clark. And it's not just how they shoot it. It's also the distance from which they're shooting. Because the farther away from the basket, the more beautiful it is to watch and the more it gets sucked into the net, or at least appears to be.
Well, I've heard about growing up, they always said to put arc on the ball because the ball, the rim seems to be white, gets to get wider as far as when it comes down. So yeah, that's.
Say that again, Rob.
They said to put more arc on the ball.
Oh well, yeah. Anytime there's more arc, it always looks better.
So when it comes down, the basket seems to be wider. So like you see it, you don't see it bounce. You just see their shots bouncing around, spinning, and then going in. It goes swish.
Yeah, because theoretically, the more arc is supposed to be better, to a certain point. Obviously, it's supposed to have a higher chance of putting it in because it's going up like this more instead of like this. A chance of getting the bounce on the ball too.
Right.
So, but that's what I point out is I think that's one of the reasons for Caitlin Clark's appeal is aesthetically the 3-point shot is just not just fun to watch because it's distance, but there's a reason that it looks nice while you're watching it. In addition to, I think her competitiveness is what people underrate. When they underrate her in terms of why she's popular because of her competitiveness and also why she's great as a player. And that's just my theory. I think she's ultra competitive like Michael Jordan. That's why I made that comparison. And I think people underrate the importance of that in her game.
Well, her 3-point shot also, like we're going back to the way the game of between men's and women's, you don't see the women flying in there doing the finger roll or doing the slam dunk, from the free throw line. So them shooting the 3-point line is a lot more exciting, or her shooting from the logo is a lot more exciting when it goes in than
right
when they're trying to drive in because the girls are much bigger and then the shot's not as smooth as the men's.
Well, I think it could be 50 years before women are dunking, at least for any kind of real dunks on a regular basis. But they're capable of it. I mean, you just watch. I know Simone Biles is smaller, so it might not be a good comparison. But if you watch how vertical she is as an athlete, she's 5 and she's 4'9", obviously, and light. But women are capable of it. In fact, if you look at track and field, the difference between the men and the women is only like 10% at the world best.
Not that much.
So, but right now it's 9-inch difference on leaping ability between men and women. So, and then they're also 6 inches shorter, and their arms are shorter, and their fingers are shorter, and their hands are shorter. So it's going to take a while for women to be able to dunk anywhere near how men do. They don't want to lower the rim, so that's what they're going to have.
It's a physical thing. The men have bigger shoulders. That's the way it is. It's a physical makeup of men and women.
Right, but I think that's part of the appeal of her. And anyways, and the appeal of men is what they have, and that's why we're going to be having a show tomorrow on the NBA Finals Game 1. Today is Thursday, June 6th, and the game's tonight. This video will be up today, and hopefully we can talk about basketball, and no fights will take place, and the refs won't be awful, and no race things will come up, and whatever, and no caddy stuff. And we'll have a video on that, and Caitlin Clark plays Friday, so of course we'll have a video for Game 12 on Saturday, and we got our live show every Monday from 7 to 8 Eastern time. You can call in and you can make comments, and please subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. It really helps us out, and hit that notification bell when you do, and make intelligent, non-insulting comments, please.
We definitely appreciate your comments. That helps us also if we're wrong, or just to get a topic going. And we really appreciate that a lot.
Especially if it's a topic that we're unsure about, and we kind of threw that out there because we'd really like to hear your viewpoints. That sometimes I purposely listen to other YouTubers and I read articles and look at comments just to learn more and to things. I get thoughts that I couldn't have thought of myself. I can't think of everything, believe it or not. I can't think of everything. And so sometimes it changes my viewpoint. And maybe you'll change my viewpoint. Maybe I'm wrong about some of these things. I don't know. And I don't want to talk about race anymore, but I want to talk about basketball. So Friday, we're going to talk about the NBA Finals, and Saturday we're going to talk about Caitlin Clark's game. And hopefully, we're just going to be talking about the game, the play. Yes. Hopefully, please, ladies, let us talk about the game and the play. We want to talk about the NBA play and the game. We want to concentrate on the game. If you just let us, okay? Yes. Please. All right. We'll see you later.
All right, y'all. Peace out.
Peace out.